Shooting a movie review at almost 1 in the morning. I'm making great decisions, aren't I, guys? Anyway, hey there, guys. What's up? What's going on? It's Autobot Mike 18 here, back with another movie review. Guys, I am so sorry that, yeah, I'm just sorry that it's 1 in the morning, and almost 1 in the morning, and I'm shooting a movie review in my car. I hate shooting movie reviews in my car, by the way. I don't mind random vlogs and Blu-ray videos, but movie reviews, I love my background and everything, and I love to just be like this close, holding a poster and everything. I try to make it as like real and genuine as possible. So yeah. Guys, I just got out of the movies. I went to a very late showing. I would have gone to an earlier one, but I was super busy, and I have to shoot this review tonight because I do not have time during the weekend to shoot it. But guys, the movie that I just saw and am going to be reviewing in this video, I better keep it down before my whole neighborhood, I wake my whole neighborhood up. Imagine I'm just screaming. No, I can't do that. But guys, the movie I'm going to be reviewing in this video is whoa. Yes, I do have a poster. I'm not going to hold up the whole thing. The Birth of a Nation. Boom, right there. That's a really... Look at that poster. That's horrible. They're like blood, and it's just all slaves. That's really messed up. So guys, yeah, Birth of a Nation. Okay, a lot of controversy surrounding this one. I'm gonna do my best to not talk too much about the controversy, but seeing it's like a lot of are talking about it and it's worked its way into the press of this film, I have to mention it. But I will later. I want to talk about this movie as a movie first. The fact that I was excited for it despite every negative thing that's surrounding it right now. So yeah, Birth of a Nation. The Birth of a Nation is directed, written, produced, and acted by Nat Turner. You guys may know him from several smaller movies in the last few years. Beyond the Lights, he had a lead starring role in that film. I didn't see it. And I remember him from Nonstop with Liam Neeson. He had a supporting role in that movie. And I didn't really know him in anything else, so I was surprised to hear that this is really his first project, his first directorial, everything is his first, like writing and everything. And he just went and put so much money and so much effort into this project and went and got it made. I'll talk more about that in a second. What I want to get into now, guys, is the synopsis for Birth of a Nation. If anyone didn't know, guys, The Birth of a Nation is not the awful D.W. Griffith racist movie that came out like in 1912. That's not this movie. This is something different. The movie's terrible. I've seen some of it, and it's awful. But The Birth of a Nation, Nat Turner's Birth of a Nation, is a period drama piece, a biopic about not Nat Turner. I did it again. Nat Turner. Nat Turner, guys, is played by Nat Turner. That's what I meant to say. And he was born and raised a slave, lived his whole childhood and everything through it. But he was actually one of the very few slaves who was educated. He was instructed to read the Bible by one of his owners. And ended up becoming a preacher, apart from, picking cotton in the cotton fields and everything, and performing other duties that slaves had to take care of during that time period. And he grows up and becomes a preacher, and eventually just the weight and all of the problems and the brutality in the inhumane qualities of slavery just come to a boiling head for him, and just stack up in weight on his shoulders, and it gets to the point where he just can't take it anymore. These are people who are getting hurt, they are being tortured, they are being abused, and he's not going to stand for it anymore. So he is the leader of a very small slave revolt. And that's all I'm going to say about The Birth of a Nation. Okay, guys? So yes, as I said, this is, if you guys want to give this movie a different title, you can call it the Nat Turner film, because Nat Turner essentially did... Why did I just zoom in? Why am I still zooming in? I don't know. I'm sorry. Because Nat Turner essentially did everything. to put this movie together. As I said, he wrote, directed, he produced this movie, he acted in it, he's the lead character. So what didn't he do for this movie? That's the question. But yeah, he stopped acting for like several years just so and he used his like pay from those movies he did, and he financed this movie with that, and he had trouble getting finance and people to back it up, but so many ended up backing it up. And this is the Sundance winner. This won Best Dramatic Jury and Best Drama Audience Award. It won all the big awards at Sundance, and it was just highly hyped up and praised once it debuted at Sundance, and when the trailer dropped, everybody was going nuts. Now recently, scandals and stories concerning Nate Parker's past, things I really don't want to get heavily into, but I have to bring them up for the sake of this review. It's relevant, it's being brought up as he's trying to promote this film. Partially, even though I do not agree with what he did, and I feel it's disgusting what he did in his past, I do feel like this is like the worst timing for him, of course. But then again, he shouldn't have done what he did. That said, guys, I know I'm going to get comments. I know some of you guys are going to be like, Mike, I'm glad you went and saw the film despite everything that happened. I'm glad you just saw this movie for the movie, okay? Not, you didn't go support this movie because you support rapists, okay? I'm just going to throw that out there. I know another half of you are going to be very upset with me that I went and saw this movie because of what he's accused of doing and what he did in his past. And I just want to say, guys, that when I go to a film, yes, I know that I go to a movie and I'm paying for that movie, so I'm giving that movie money. I'm supporting the movie, but I know I'm also at the same time supporting the filmmakers who made the movie. And since Nate Parker really did almost everything on this film, I'm really supporting him heavily by going to see this movie. And I know you guys are going to be upset with that, some of you who are affected by what he did, and do not care for what he did, and I don't either. But honestly, I did not go to this movie for Nate Parker's personal life. I want to make that clear. I went to this movie for Nate Parker as a filmmaker because I wanted to see what he could do as a filmmaker and as a performer. Okay, I tend to, whenever I go view a film, I tend to leave the personal lives of the filmmakers and the directors and the actors and everyone at the door because it doesn't matter. I'm there for the movie and for their talent and their work. I'm not there for their personal stories and everything. So I just want to throw that out there. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to go see Hacksaw Ridge by Mel Gibson, even though Mel Gibson's passed and everything. Okay, I'm there for the movies, guys, not the people themselves and their own actions, which I am very sure he is terribly ashamed of and incredibly regrets. So that's all I'm going to say. I do not condone it, nor do I feel it was right at all, but I just wanted to make that note. That said, let's actually talk about this movie because it's a movie review. I wanted to get that out there. I wanted to just give my stance on this. As a movie, The Birth of a Nation severely affected me, guys. This film is incredibly haunting. It is disgusting. It's brutal. I think it is so accurate in depicting the just utter inhumane side of slavery and just the horrors of it. And I love how it just totally, just the weight of everything gets worse and worse and worse. Just all of these problems are literally stacking up. And it's literally like scene. Nat Turner is seeing just slaves being treated unjustly in a different place where he's preaching somewhere. Another scene, somebody he knows gets abused. Another scene, another person he knows gets abused. Another scene, something else just disgusting happens. And it just gets to the point where it just builds on him and builds on him and builds on him. And to just see this character break down and resort to what he has to resort to is just utterly heartbreaking. And at the same time, it's totally warranted because something had to be done because it was just completely and utterly ridiculous, inhumane, and disgusting with what was really going on at that time, as we all know. So I really, really need to praise the film for making me feel 100% uncomfortable throughout the entire thing. Even when the characters get to the point where they are revolting, I still feel disgusting because I know that it is something that they do not want to do, but it's something they have to do. And that is what really hit me hard with this film. I just want to caution everybody, this is not for the faint of heart. It is incredibly graphic and really, really violent. But that's just how it is. Like, that is the depiction, and I think it's really genuine and accurate and really, really well done. Yeah, just getting into what I feel is really, really strong about this movie. And I know people are going to compare this to 12 Years a Slave. I don't want anyone going into this movie before they see it saying, why are we getting another slavery movie? We just had one with 12 Years a Slave. Guys, they are movies about slavery. Yes, 2 movies about slavery. Yes, 12 Years a Slave got a bunch of attention, everything. It won Oscars and blah, blah, blah. This film, we don't know yet because of this controversy and everything. We don't know. But here's the thing. They're both 2 entirely different films with 2 entirely different directors. Steve McQueen directed that movie his way. That felt like a Steve McQueen movie. This feels like an entirely different movie, from the way it's shot, from the way it looks, from some of the performances. It's totally different. Totally different choices were made. So I don't want anyone saying, and the stories that both are depicting are also very different, apart from the overall theme of just slavery and just craving freedom and just human rights in general. So I just want to point that out. That said, I love, I think, as a filmmaker, as an actor, and as a man who worked on this movie and made this movie happen, I think Nate Parker did a phenomenal job behind the camera as a director. I think the screenplay is really, really good. I think that all of his sermons are really powerful, and those are also the moments where I feel Nate Parker shines the best as an actor. Those are his best scenes, by far. And they work so well for me because I see himself getting affected by his own sermons and his own preachings, and the other supporting actors and extras who are, we cut to reaction shots of them, and they are getting emotionally riled up by what he's saying. Those are the scenes that worked the best for me, and I think those are Nate Parker's best standout moments. There's a heartbreaking shot with him in a bedroom at night where he's kneeling over somebody who was abused, and he was amazing. I think overall he did a very, very good job acting in this film. From having to deal with 2 things, and this is the first time he's making a big movie like this, and he's acting and directing in it, I can imagine how stressful that must have been. So I think he did an amazing job. The screenplay is amazing. I think it doesn't hold back. I think, yes, I understand that there is a moment in this film where they add in a fictional scene, and a lot of it, again, it ties into the controversy and everything surrounding Nate Parker as his personal life, which is ridiculous, but I understand why that fictional scene is in the film, and it worked for me in regards to the progression of how bad things were getting. There's a fictional action that happens. That's all I'm going to say. It worked for me. I think it worked. How many accounts of that are based on a true story are genuinely factual throughout the entire movie? No. So there you go. I could totally see maybe 2 other scenes that just didn't happen in this movie the way they did in this movie in real life. That said, so the screenplay is great. The direction is really good. I think the shots look really good. I love the look of this movie. They colored it. It looks and feels really blue, which I think worked. And it stood out to me, kind of. I see why they did it, but it sets the movie apart, made it feel different for me, and added to the really just overall just depressing tone that I got throughout this film. Not just depressing, just like just this idea of inhumanity and just human cruelty to another human that I got, and that's why I love those choices. The supporting cast was all great. Armie Hammer, I thought they were all great. Just great. Yeah, they were really, really good. I want to definitely praise the score by Henry Jackman. I think it's one of the best of the year, for sure. Really, really good. I think the production value is really good for a movie that really struggled to get financing. Really good. And I think there are moments just in general, and this ties into the script, this ties into performances, directing, and blocking, and just overall decisions as a director, where they just need to depict just how brutal and how gruesome these slaves are being mistreated by their owners, and or just by angry white people in general, angry white Southerners, just cruel white Southerners. I feel like those scenes really worked and they hit really well for me. They felt genuine and they made me feel really sick to myself, actually. There's one moment in a scene in a barn that I genuinely just felt awful. I was just like, I was squirming in my seat. There's a lot of moments like that that really incredibly work. I think that they do a phenomenal job portraying slavery and just the growing problem of it, and just seeing how much it could weigh down a person and affect them mentally and physically. And I think that's what made this movie really soar. I do not think this film is flawless, guys. I do have but 2 problems with this movie in general. I notice how I haven't talked about the editing. Honestly, I feel that was the one thing that the movie went wrong with. I feel the pacing was really good. In terms of cutting, I think this movie is way, way too cutty. There are a lot of moments in this movie. One scene in particular, I feel, was disastrously cut. I honestly don't know what they were thinking. There are shots that I really want them to just hold on, and I'm just like, just hold on that shot for a second. I really want to get more of the actor's reaction, but they just cut away to a different shot, or they cut to the next scene, and I feel that was a poor choice in some moments. Now, the scene that I'm talking about that's really awfully cut happens really early on in the film. A slave steals food, brings it back to other slaves, and I think they cut it so fast to put it in the perspective of young child Nat Turner and just how hectic it was. So cut to all these people didn't work for me at all. I think it was terribly cut, actually. I honestly don't know how it made it into the final cut of this movie. I totally would have made notes and been like, don't cut it this way. That's just me. And I feel that happens a few other moments in this movie. Not as bad as that scene, but it happens a few other times. I was like, just hold on the shot, but they didn't. One other problem I had, and this was with the ending. I love the last scene. I feel that there's one shot in the last scene that doesn't work at all. It looks like a shot that they had to reshoot in a soundstage with artificial lighting. It's of a girl in front of a sky. That's all I'm gonna say. Looked terrible. That was one thing I didn't get. That felt out of place. I love his reaction. I love just his final actions in the end of this movie. I love him. Now, there's a scene before the last scene, which I probably feel is one of the best scenes of the movie. And it involves a conversation between 2 people, but they can't see each other. That's all I'm going to say. It hit me right here. What kept that scene from making it perfect was the fact that we didn't end it on Nate Parker, on a shot on him. I really was missing his POV in that moment, and I really missed the moment where he decides to do his final action to get to that final scene. That's one thing that I felt the movie messed up a bit on, was his POV towards the end. I think it got a little rushed towards the end. I don't know why. But that scene would have been literally perfect if they just cut to a shot of him. That's all I'm going to say. So that's how I feel about The Birth of a Nation, guys. I know it's very controversial, and I know a lot of you guys are like, Mike, I can't believe you just saw this. You know what? It got a lot of people talking. I was really hyped for it, for the movie itself, and I'm glad I went and saw it because it did really affect me. It did really get under my skin, and I just sat there cold as the credits rolled by, and I read the text and everything. I felt awful. So for that reason, I have to praise this movie for that. So guys, in the end, I am going to give The Birth of a Nation a solid grade of a 9 out of 10 or an A-. I am going to recommend film lovers and moviegoers who just go to the movies all the time, go see this movie. I feel you should. If you don't want to because of the controversy, that's totally right, and I totally understand. I'm glad I went. I'm glad I saw it and saw this for the movie and for the story, not for the personal lives of the actor and the man who made it. That said, guys, those are my thoughts on The Birth of a Nation. What did you guys think about this movie? Let me know down below in the comments. If you have seen it, are you going to see it? Let me know. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed my review, guys, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.